The great hero engages in a final showdown with the demon lord, prompted by the Dark Monarch's dire warning of impending world destruction. As the demon king summons a massive meteor, the hero quietly prepares by picking up a tiny rock from the floor. With a surge of power infused into his humble stone, the hero strikes his sword, colliding with the meteor and obliterating it. Frustrated with the cheap tactics, the hero seeks to settle things once and for all. Both sides unleash their full power, resulting in a high-level clash that causes the environment to be destroyed. After a prolonged battle that leaves both combatants drained, they stumble toward each other and deliver their final attacks. As life fades from the hero, he smiles, knowing that the world is safe thanks to his sacrifice. Time passes, and the students of prestigious Rosewood Academy warmly greet one another. It is Blade's first day after being transferred, and he is impressed by the friendly nature of his fellow students. He realizes this is how normal people interact and eagerly anticipates making new friends and living an ordinary life. He navigates the hallways, greeting everyone he meets, but they look at him with curiosity as an unfamiliar face. Some find his behavior amusing until he approaches a group of students to make friends. Blade introduces himself, and they reciprocate, leading to his excitement over quickly making 4 friends. He believes he can make up to 100 friends if he continues at this pace. Their joyful encounter is interrupted by a student named Ernest, who scolds them for being rowdy in the hallways. One of the students explains to Blade that she is called Empress because she is the top student in the school. Undeterred by her unfamiliarity, Blade confidently introduces himself to her. However, she responds with a hint of attitude due to his status as a newcomer. The other students timidly explain that Blade recently transferred into the school, but Empress remains skeptical as she believes the school would not allow such a late admission. She emphasizes the school's prestige, reserved for aspiring heroes dedicated to protecting the world. Blade dismisses the idea of being a hero, clarifying that he is solely there to make friends. This triggers Empress, who challenges him on his lack of wholehearted commitment. Blade diffuses the tension by diverting the conversation to his need to find the headmaster's office. To her surprise, she sees King Gilgamesh sitting in the principal's chair. She immediately displays respect for the king, puzzled by his presence. Blade walks confidently toward the king, acknowledging that he made it. Ernest attempts to hold him down as a subtle gesture of respect, but Blade continues, causing Ernest to apologize for her rudeness. The king chuckles, revealing that the previous headmaster had already informed him about her and commending her excellent record. While she humbly accepts the praise, she notices that the king referred to the previous headmaster. The king then discloses that he will be the new headmaster from that point forward. This revelation shocks Empress, but she had heard about the king's accomplishments as a warrior. She expresses her excitement about learning under his guidance. Interrupting her sucking-up behavior, the king asks Empress to excuse herself as he needs to speak with Blade privately. She gives Blade a salty look before leaving. Blade takes the opportunity to complain to the king about his encounter with Ernest, worried that he has made a bad impression on her. The king, seemingly at ease with Blade, asks him about his presence at the school. Gilgamesh confesses that he wants Blade to regain his powers as a hero. However, Blade has different plans for himself and expresses his desire to lead an ordinary life. The king acknowledges his wishes, but emphasizes that the extraordinary nature of the students in the school will aid in his rehabilitation. Gilgamesh also reveals his plan to overhaul the curriculum, as he believes his predecessor was too lenient. Blade disagrees, arguing that with the Demon King defeated, there is no need for such changes. The king informs Blade that he received reports of the epic battle between the Grey Hero and the Demon King, resulting in the mutual annihilation of their powers. However, he still holds hope that the Grey Hero's powers will be resurrected, as Blade is that very hero. Blade looks at the old man incredulously, questioning his sanity. Following their meeting, Blade heads to the advanced class. Ernest is shocked to see him there, and Blade explains that he took the exam for the lower classes but was instructed to come to this one. To prove his claim, he shows her his emblem. However, Ernest accuses him of bribery and backdoor access. The other students in the class pause their preparations to observe the exchange. Ernest asserts that Blade's nonchalant behavior makes him unworthy of being in the academy. Blade disagrees, asserting his dedication to making 100 friends. He proceeds to introduce himself to his new classmates and playfully pats Ernest on the head, causing her to blush. She attempts to attack him, but he easily dodges her. The force of her slash narrowly misses their tutor, who looks on in horror, realizing what could have happened. Sophie, the tutor, instructs the class to gather while informing Blade and Ernest that they will be tested on their abilities, despite it not being part of the lesson plan. The other students watch as Ernest explains the test. Blade notices that the armor before him is enchanted, and Ernest reveals that every student in the advanced class can slice through it. His task is to prove himself to everyone by slicing through the armor. Failure would mean admitting to his illicit entry and leaving the academy. Ernest emphasizes that the advanced class is on a whole different level. Blade questions what level that is, and Ernest exaggerates, claiming they are 3 levels above. Based on this, Blade decides that his second sword should be enough. Releasing his aura, he astounds the students by revealing that his fighting spirit takes the form of a dragon. The tornado forms as Blade unleashes the Dragon Eater, destroying the armor and damaging the wall. The strong winds dishevel Ernest's clothes and knock down the other students, leaving only Sophie standing. The practice sword crumbles under the power, unable to withstand it. Ernest asks Blade to reveal his identity, and when he turns around, he is shocked by the damage his attacks have caused. He tries to convince them that he is just an average person, but the class is skeptical. After the lesson, Blade joins Ernest for lunch. He attempts to invite his newfound acquaintances to join them, but they refuse, explaining that the table is reserved for Ernest. They are scared of her, and when Blade asks why, he receives no response. So, he sits down and marvels at the delicious food. Ernest apologizes for her earlier accusations, but Blade has already forgotten about the incident. He asks her not to let it bother her, as he has moved on. She acknowledges his talent and breaks the news that they are officially friends since they had lunch together. This makes her blush, and the other students notice her sudden affection for him. After a long day, Ernest relaxes in her dorm, giddy about making her first friend. Her sword starts to move, dampening her happiness. She recalls a flashback from her childhood when she touched the cursed demon sword, which turned her hair red and demanded destruction and chaos. In the present, she holds the sword, vowing to resist the dark force within and never succumb to its desires. The next day, the advanced class engages in mock battles, and Ernest displays an intense level of determination, defeating her opponents relentlessly. The other students notice her heightened intensity, but Sophie advises her to relax, which she disregards. After a brief exchange, Ernest admits defeat. When she turns to face Blade, she collapses due to the sword acting up again. Blade catches her and rushes her to the infirmary. The school nurse informs them that she can't do much as the problem is related to magic and curses, beyond her expertise. They pause their conversation when Ernest regains consciousness, horrified at the thought of losing control of her powers and causing harm. However, Blade assures her that she only passed out. Ernest attempts to leave the infirmary, but the nurse insists she stays until Blade promises to keep an eye on her. As they leave, she warns him never to speak of what he has learned. Blade reassures her that she can lean on him as friends. Later that night, Blade sneaks into a restricted area and causes the destruction of numerous robots. He knows he will face the king's scolding and enters a control room where he accesses the data of Rosewood Academy. He discovers information about Ernest's weapon, the demon sword named Asmodeus. He finds the sword unsettling. A robot attempts to ambush him, but Blade swiftly defeats it. With all the gathered information, Blade takes Ernest aside the following day to reveal what he has learned. They move to the training field, and he explains that the sword has its own will and grants immense power to its owner. However, Ernest hasn't gained full control over it. She opens up about accidentally touching the cursed demon sword when she was 6, and since then, she has been fighting against its desire for carnage. Blade assures her that she can gain full control and offers his support. Despite her fear of failure, Ernest embarks on the journey to make the sword submit under Blade's supervision. She enters an inner world where she confronts the demon and emerges victorious. Blade catches her as she informs him that she has succeeded. The following day at school, the students watch in awe as Ernest debuts her new hairstyle and transformed persona. Blade observes her with delight as she interacts with her fellow students. This is where our tale temporarily concludes. Feel free to comment if you're interested in following more of this exciting series. Thanks for your time. If you stayed until the end, please like and subscribe for more.